Hi everyone, I'm David Wojcik and this is MBOT TV. Stories we covered this week: Minister of Finance Vic Fedeli has a big announcement on red tape reduction for business. There's good news for retailers of cannabis in Mississauga. Mississauga updates its purchasing policy with an emphasis on sustainability, and Mississauga reviews development charges in the city. Welcome to MBOT TV, a weekly recap of what happened in business at the Mississauga Board of Trade and around the city of Mississauga. Let's dive in. First up, our series on the corporate execution gap. Here's Fred Pitsadney from Focus Management with our Guru Gap tip of the week on setting genuine levels of accountability and how they affect your execution strategy.
Thanks, David. Responsibility without the right level of authority to make decisions or act only leads to frustration, disengaged people, and poor performance. To avoid this, distribute these 4 levels of authority as they are earned and appropriate to the position and for the person. Authority level number 1. The person in the role has the authority to act without any contact with the team leader prior to the action. This is just called a just do it authority level. Authority level 2, the individual in the role has the authority to act but must notify the team leader immediately after the action is taken. This is called a tell me after authority. Authority level number 3, the person in the role has the authority to act but must notify the team leader before action is taken. This is a tell me before authority. Authority level 4, the individual in the role has the authority to analyze and make recommendations to the team leader for approval. This is a make recommendations authority. Use these 4 levels of authority for clarity and genuine accountability that will keep your people engaged, highly motivated, and fully equipped to execute their plans. Make it happen. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Fred. Minister of Finance Vic Fedeli addressed members and guests of MBOT last week with details on his recent budget, along with clarification on some myths being circulated by various parties.
It invests even more money than today's investments in health and education. That's kind of despite what you may hear some of the opposition continuing to say. The spending in health and education are both up by many hundreds of millions of dollars. In education, it's up by $1.3 billion this year. We have decided with you, the business community, the best way to bring $3.8 billion of your taxes down is to introduce the Ontario Job Creation Incentive, investment incentive, and this is a nice way of saying accelerated capital cost. If you have equipment, you can now write that equipment off in year, and that is going to save you from paying $3.8 billion in corporate taxes over the course of the next 5 years. We're also acutely aware of the fact that there's a mismatch in the skilled trade workforce. You know, we have people being trained here and job requirements here. They're not aligned. And so we have started with our schools to ensure that our young people know that the skilled trades are valued and rewarding careers, and we're presenting a pathway for them. And for employers, we're establishing a new financial incentive program to help you train more apprentices. We are introducing a very high-packed legislation every spring and every fall that is designed to cut red tape. Now, we're talking about cutting $400 million of your costs in red tape out by the year 2020. This is such an important issue for the Premier that he has created a new position, a Deputy Minister of Red Tape.
The minister asserted efficiencies within ministries will bring the budget in balance within 5 years without imposing any new taxes. The minister also stressed that despite the fear-mongering, no teachers will lose their jobs.
Well, those job losses are made up. I can tell you that please ignore the fear-mongering that is done by the teacher labor leaders. This is nothing but fear-mongering. Every single year, until their budget numbers are granted, it's their duty to make these reports back to the teachers that should we not get our funding envelope on by April 25th or the end of the month, it's their duty to issue those notices. They issue the hundreds and hundreds of notices. Every school board does this every single year, under Bob Ray, under Ernie Eves, under Premier Harris, under Premier McGuinty, under Premier Wynne. That's what they do every spring.
If you want to stay up to date on current issues affecting business leaders, tune in to Your Business on Saga 960 AM, Fridays at 11 a.m., hosted by yours truly. You can also listen online at www.saga960am.ca. Still to come is our political update with Brad Butt, who reports on good news for Mississauga cannabis retailers, and our upcoming events listing with Stephanie Giorgio. But first, are you looking for ways to save money on your employee benefits? The Chamber Plan can help.
The Chamber's plan now offers employee benefit programs with greater selection, higher coverage levels, and more value than ever before. Take another look and see why we're the choice of more small businesses than any other plan in Canada. The Chamber's plan, it's for your benefit.
The 2019 edition of MBOT's annual magazine and directory is in the works. This directory is an excellent way for you to gain recognition for your business. For more information, call 905-273-6151, press 0, and speak to your membership services manager today. Now for our political update, here's our Vice President of Government and Stakeholder Relations, Brad Butt. Brad?
Well, thanks, David. The Ontario Chamber Network released the report supporting Ontario's budding cannabis industry last week to support this new and growing area. The report also makes some constructive recommendations on a wide range of issues impacting the sector, including addressing supply shortages, setting up the private retail market for success, getting regulations around edibles right, workforce development, and encouraging responsible adult consumption. Given the City of Mississauga's decision late last year to opt out of cannabis retail stores, we are pleased that the report recommends that a formalized process should be developed to allow Ontario municipalities, both those that opted in and those that opted out, to engage with the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario as it determines where and how many private retail cannabis stores will be permitted within their boundary. The report also recommends that as Ontario moves forward on more retail stores, that the AGCO should reopen the application process for prospective operators and license producers as quickly as possible and proceed with a licensing system based on merit, such as prior retail experience, industry knowledge, capital, and infrastructure for the next phase of private retail. The People's Health Care Act has passed in the Ontario Legislature, paving the way for a significant overhaul to the province's public health care system. The Act creates new Ontario Health teams, integrates multiple provincial agencies into a single agency, Ontario Health, to provide a central point of accountability and oversight for the healthcare system, and fully digitize online health records and virtual patient care. Critics claim this will lead to cuts in healthcare despite the government's assertion that the changes are about funding frontline healthcare. Well, Health Minister Christine Elliott also announced last week that the government will build 3,000 new hospital beds, which will include new beds here in Mississauga. Transportation Minister Jeff Urick announced that Ontario will be getting new vehicle license plates and driver's licenses in February 2020. The license plates will now read, "A Place to Grow," replacing "Yours to Discover." The new plates will be more modern and will not peel or fade. On a more controversial note, however, the province is proposing to place stickers on gas pumps educating customers about the cost of the national carbon tax that is included in the price of gas.
All that is, again, designed to save you money. We're also, as you well know, fighting the job-killing carbon tax. This is a tax that is driving up the cost of absolutely everything, not just 4.4 cents increase in the gasoline at the pump on its way to 11.1 cents. This is a tax on every grocery store you go into, every hardware store, every time you buy clothes, every time you buy a meal. It is increased because of the job-killing carbon tax, and we are challenging this in court. As you now know, it started this week, and we're not the only jurisdiction, by the way. We welcome, as I mentioned earlier, Premier-elect Jason Kenney. We welcome him to the fight to stop this federal carbon tax. We are putting, if passed, we are proposing the Federal Carbon Tax Transparency Act, which will indeed put a sticker on every gas pump to let you know just how much money the federal government is taking out of your pocket.
The Federal Carbon Transparency Act has been tabled in the legislature and, if passed, would force gasoline stations to display the sticker or face a hefty fine. The Ontario Chamber of Commerce is seeking input on this matter to provide feedback to the government. The Ontario budget proposes the creation of a new tax credit for childcare. The Childcare Access and Relief from Expenses credit would provide about 300,000 families with up to 75% of their eligible childcare expenses and allow families to access a broad range of childcare options, including care in centres, homes, and camps. The City of Mississauga has provided an update on its sustainable purchasing policy, noting the success they are having in evaluating bids and tenders. This means, in addition to price, quality, and service, the City will also consider the sustainable practices of a vendor during the procurement process. This policy helps the City make more sustainable choices when it comes to buying products and services from external vendors. Mississauga has also launched its public review of the Development Charges Bylaw that governs how the City charges for new building and development to support capital infrastructure expenses. Staff will be attending the May 8th meeting of the MBOT Policy and Government Affairs Committee to discuss the review. The Region of Peel is updating its long-range transportation plan through a series of public consultations. Transportation in and through Peel remains a high priority, given the importance of this sector to the local economy. Trucking activity alone accounts for approximately $1.8 billion worth of goods moving to, from, and through the Region of Peel on a daily basis. Last week, I attended the launch of the Smart Freight Centre, a project of the Region of Peel and the Universities of Toronto, York, and McMaster. The Smart Freight Centre will help build a broad coalition with all levels of government, industry, and the academic community to advance goods movement research, planning, and implementation in the Region of Peel and the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Brad. With a listing of our upcoming events, here's our events manager, Stephanie Giorgio. Stephanie.
Thanks, David. And here's what's coming up at your Mississauga Board of Trade. On April 24th, join us at Sea Banquets for a unique opportunity in bringing together key political, business, and community leaders in Mississauga to meet, network, share ideas, and information in a relaxed and social setting, and to express our appreciation to those that represent us in public office. On April 25th, join us at the 4 Points by Sheridan for our professional development series. Join us for an educational session on customer retention. Hear 4 keynote speakers present on how to retain your clients, increase the lifeline of your client, and form relationships. On May 10th, we are at Sheridan College at the Hazel McCallion campus for Good Morning Mississauga. Meet up to 100 potential business clients, partners, and suppliers before the start of your workday. On May 14th, we are at Lionhead Golf and Country Club for the Women's Leadership event. Join Carol Stewart, President and CEO of Kellogg's Canada, as she shares her insights and authentic leadership philosophy along with her actionable lessons to set up your leadership game. And save the date for our annual Golf Classic, 9, Dine, and Network. Join us on June 24th as we tee off at Lionhead Golf for 9 holes of fun. Whether you're a golfer or not, this event has something for you. Can't make golf? No problem. Join us for dinner, big prizes, and our legendary silent auction. Grand prize of a big screen TV and a live auction for 2 airline tickets. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Stephanie. If you have any questions about how to make a nomination for our Awards of Excellence, register for an event, increase awareness for your business, or have your company featured on MBOT TV, contact your membership services manager by calling 905-273-6151 and press 0 to get connected. Details about these stories and events are available at www.mbot.com. Until next week, this is David Wojcik wishing you continued success in your business.